Hello everybody and welcome back to the United Stand countdown to kick-off, the build-up show, and it's the first game of the Premier League season, Manchester United's first game. It's a clean slate. We're so excited for the season to start. There's so many positive vibes and we cannot wait to get the match day content started. I am joined with Ricky and Mauds. I've missed you guys and I'm so happy to be back. How are you feeling, Mauds?
Nah, I'm feeling great. Look, I've been waiting for this day for such a long time. Like, pre-season's cool, but it's just a bit like, it's just like a warm-up game. It's like training. Like, I'm just waiting for the real football to start, so now I'm excited.
And are you feeling positive?
100%. Now, I was speaking to Ricky before, I was like, you know what? As a United fan, you just kind of always think, you know what, we're going to do good, that we have to. Like, it's United, we should do good. It's part of our DNA to play well, so yeah, I'm definitely excited.
And Ricky, I've been speaking to you a little bit. We grabbed a coffee before. Ricky, everyone, he's feeling very positive. You're on the positive bandwagon, aren't you?
Yeah, it's a bit unlike me, but you know, but let's be honest, I'm usually right. So, but as I said, Mauds as well, I think the new hierarchy have got a lot to do with it. I don't think Ten Hag's making all the decisions, and that might be the players that we sign in. It might be the team shape. There's all sorts of things going on there, and I really think that the new hierarchy are going to have a lot to do with it, and that's getting me giddy, if I'm honest. Well,
you're very happy since really the last few games of the season, where we became a little bit more compact. Obviously, we won the FA Cup. And you were very happy with the Community Shield performance as well. So you feeling like Eric Ten Hag's maybe changed things up a little bit?
Yeah, but like I say, I'm not sure it's all his own work. But, you know, credit to him. I suppose he's still got to make the decisions. But, you know, it's more than a couple of games. I mean, I felt we played... The first time we played well in this little run, I'm not counting the pre-season games, but when we got beat 1-0 by Arsenal at Old Trafford, who was still chasing the title at the time, and we didn't have any fit centre-backs, Casemiro... Look, no disrespect to him, he's not a centre-back, but Casemiro played at centre-back and he was at fault with the goal. You know, if we had fit centre-backs in that game, we might not have lost to Arsenal. We played all right. And then we beat Newcastle 2-0 at Old Trafford, 3-2 at Old Trafford. Then we beat Brighton away 2-0. Then we beat City. And our next competitive fixture is the Charity Shield. We've drawn with City, all right, we got beat on pens. It's 5 games in a row now where I think we've been a lot more compact and a lot more difficult to break down than normal, and I'm dead happy with it.
I think so too, and that's the one big thing I really want out of this season, Mauds. Obviously last season was a bit of a write-off apart from the FA Cup, but what I want, and you know, we did that without even full-strength team, really, without even a full-strength squad. I mean, you have Højlund and Euro out, which is really disappointing, and Shaw as well, which is massive. But, you know, you've got Lissandro back, we've got Ligt, who may or may not start. Team news is coming very soon, by the way, so stay tuned for that. And also, any questions, get them down below. Going to be doing loads of predictions and just interactive stuff. But for me, it's like, you know, when we've got our full-strength team, I want to be capable of going to the Emirates, going to the Etihad, and I'm not saying we have to win every single game because these are top teams, but going toe-to-toe, not just like being scared behind the ball, like going toe-to-toe and actually giving them a game.
Yeah, and I think we even showed last season, even though last season was very poor, like we can all admit that, but to be fair, when we did go up against these top teams, Liverpool would be in the FA Cup, City would obviously be in the FA Cup final. Arsenal, like you said, it wasn't like far off. I think it was only 1-0 or something like that.
It was 1-0, yeah.
1-0, and like I said, it was a fault for the goal. So, and even Arsenal earlier on in the season, we were millimetres away from beating them 2-1. So I do think in terms of like mentality and the way the energy that we bring when we play the big teams, you could tell we're fighting for these games. It's not like we're scared of them, but I mean, like Rick said, it's about the style of play that we're coming out with.
Yeah, 100%. Someone in the chat just asked Haaland or Bruno for FPL captain. Is that even a question? Is that even a question? I've got the captain's armband on Bruno Fernandes. I'm sorry.
What was that question?
Haaland or Bruno for FPL captain?
I've not got it on any of them.
Who have you got on, Isaac?
I've got it on Salah, I think.
You got it on Salah?
Yeah,
you completely lost me.
Well, you don't do FPL, do you? Fantasy Premier
League.
Yeah.
So people have got Haaland as captain.
Yeah.
I mean, they got Chelsea, so you never know, you know. Chelsea gives City a good game.
Whoever you captain, whatever points they get, it gets doubled.
Yeah. So you can pick anyone as your skipper and hope that they have a good day.
Yeah, basically, yeah. I've got my eye on KSI announced he's giving 50 grand to the winner.
Yes, I saw that. I joined that league straight away.
I was like, Bruno captain, risky decision, but you know, you've got to be risky.
Really risky decision.
Got to be in it to win it. Got to be risky to get above people.
You picked the wrong one. I bet you anything. I bet you 50 grand. You picked the wrong one.
Ricky,
you might double your money.
Exactly. Well, Look, everyone, get in the comments down below. Who should we be captaining? Should be captain United player? Let us know. Obviously, going to be talking about United. We had the first game of the season. What I don't want to do though is underestimate Fulham. You know, they have lost Palina, which is big for them. They've brought in Smith Rowe, who I think is a very good player. Marco Silva. He's had some interesting times at Old Trafford, including being sent off. We all remember that. But also last season, if I'm not mistaken, Ricky, they beat us, didn't they, at Old Trafford?
They beat us 2-1, yeah, and Iwobi got an injury time winner, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a disappointing day. We had a few disappointing days last season at Old Trafford. But Ricky, are you confident around this game?
I am, yeah, but as we just spoke about, like the run of games that we're on, hopefully we can keep that up. We've not got to. I'm sure the manager will be thinking this, and I'm sure I've just spoke about the hierarchy, Barada, etc., Dan Ashworth. I'm sure they'll be speaking to the manager, and the players need to be told, don't think that this is going to be an easy ride. You've still got to play with the same enthusiasm. You've still got to get behind the ball quickly. We've still got to keep the team shape correct, and if we do all those things, at some stage chances will come our way, and surely. No disrespect to Fulham, but surely more chances will come to us against Fulham than came to us against City, and a few came against City. Yeah. You know what I mean? Against City and against the likes of Newcastle and Brighton. As I say, no disrespect, Fulham. You know, they're a good side, but they're not quite as good as those sides in my book. And I think if we stick to our game plan like we have done for the last few games, I think we could have a good win.
The rumours are apparently that Ligt is on the bench. Yeah. They're rumours. Rumours that Ahmad starts. Also, it's not a rumour, this is actually happening. Avram Glazer is going to be at the game tonight, right, okay. Which is he's barely ever there, but he is going to be there. He must
be getting excited as well then.
Pardon?
Must be getting giddy as well, like me.
I don't think he really cares, to be fair. I mean, he's probably seen the shirt sales have gone up since that new advert, because that advert was class, to be fair. He's probably got a bit excited about that. But, I mean, Rob Dawson's put out there a good chance that Mazraoui starts. Martinez didn't look comfortable at left-back against Man City. And having two proper full-backs give the team a bit of balance, likely to mean Maguire and Martinez at centre-back. Thoughts on that, Mods?
I'm excited to see Mazraoui start. I did want to see Ligt start, I'll be honest. That was the one sign that we made that I really wanted him to start for this first game. Apparently Zirkzee's got not fit, so that's really up to the medical staff or Ten Hag to make the decision. But I wanted to see Ligt start because, one, we definitely need a centre-back in there. I think the fact that the last game, we were kind of... It's always been like a very makeshift how our defence. We were playing Palistri at right back at one point in the City game. Diallo had to switch over to left back. I want a starting 11 where everyone's just playing their strongest position. That's just what I want, and that's the reason why I wanted to Ligt in. I like Mazraoui because I spoke to some of my friends who are Bayern fans, and their verdict on Mazraoui is that the fact is, one, he's very, very technical, probably more technical than Diallo, a bit more two-footed than him. So even though Diallo can play on the left-hand side, we see a lot where he would get forward, but because he's not that left-footed, he might have to cut back in and bring it to his right, or he's just not as comfortable on the left-hand side, whereas Mazraoui is a lot more comfortable on both feet. So I think the fact that we have him there, meaning Martinez can finally come back in centre-back and play his strongest position, I just think it means that the defence will just gel a lot better.
Well, that's the thing for me. I think Martinez is so crucial at left-sided centre-back, like you said, and I'm so excited to see Mazraoui because I was saying to Ricky on the show before, I will have watched him a million times, but when you're not well, not a million, but a few times, but when you're not actually concentrating on a player, you can't really, you can't really remember how good they were. But I'm hearing really positive things about him through people who have been watching him on a consistent basis. For Morocco, we know he started left back when they had that really good run in the World Cup. So for me, I've been saying how much we need a left back, but Mazraoui apparently is very good on the ball. He's very, very press resistant, and that's something that Wan-Bissaka obviously wasn't. Oh, I forgot to ask you, Maud. How are you dealing with Wan-Bissaka's exit?
I've been crying last week, I'm not going to lie. I've been a bit emotional. But
have you been having a few
I've been a few withdrawals, yeah. Yeah, it's been emotional. But you know what? I've come to terms. It's probably best for the club. Probably best for the club. Yeah.
I was saying, we and Ricky were saying, we wish him all the best because you know what? On his day, he was a very good defender, and he was a big reason why we won that FA Cup.
Yeah. Without him, we wouldn't have won the FA Cup. I'll be eternally
I think he'll be really good for West Ham.
I think it's a great move for him. I think 100%. If I was in his position, I'd be like, I'm going to go to West Ham. He's going to get way more football because United were probably going to bring in a fullback regardless. So whether or not he would stay or leave, they were going to bring in somebody else. So it meant that he was always going to fight for his position. Diallo was naturally just going to be the starting right back for United going forward. So I think for him, it's regular Premier League football. and he's going to continue to do the same thing and continue to impress. So it's a good move for him, good move for the club.
Yeah, I also think it's really good on the club getting a player in that is going to play the way that Erik ten Hag wants to develop, especially from the back. You know, having a player that's going to be able to take the ball off the goalkeeper, that Mazraoui can do, pass it through the back four, is really important for us. Make them overlapping runs. Interestingly enough, Mazraoui has been talking about his relationship with Anthony and how he can't wait to continue that at United, because obviously they had that relationship at Ajax. Yeah. I mean, do you think that that's going to develop this season, or do you think Anthony's way out of the equation?
Well, in my opinion, no. I don't think Anthony's going to start. I don't even think Anthony should play. Like, unless it's like one of those games where we just need someone to just run and that's the only thing that I want Anthony to be in the team for. Just someone who's got a lot of energy, last 20 minutes, just come on the pitch and just run, just be a havoc. And obviously on the defensive side, be a press and just be a problem for the opposition. But on that right hand side, there's 3 players that I'd rather play over Anthony. So.
I mean, we've not signed a left back yet. Anthony could be our guy.
Left back.
Can I just say something about that? Mazraoui talking about rekindling his relationship with Anthony. Whenever, I mean, not that I'd play him on the right, but whenever Anthony plays, he plays on the right. Well, Mazraoui's not going to be playing on the right, is he? He's going to be playing on the left, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? Shortly. It's not going to. I mean, I've not seen him yet. I mean, once he gets playing and once Shaw gets fit, might he take Diallo's place? I know he's probably not thinking like that, but I mean, Diallo's playing that well. I would imagine that when they're both fit, it'll be Diallo and Shaw, if Shaw can stay fit. But and obviously with Shaw not staying fit so much, Mazraoui will probably play on the left. Having said that, obviously we often use Diallo on the left, so maybe Mazraoui does play on the right. There's lots of complications, but it's a long way from him actually playing with Anthony. If he does get a few games on the right, it might be the games that Anthony's not playing in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, the reality of Anthony and Mazraoui on the right, it's kind of like the least likely option that's going to be. It's more likely going to be like an Ahmad and Garnacho with a Diallo on the right.
You never know with injuries. You never know. And they could potentially, you just got to take your chance. That's the most important thing. What I want, really, I know everyone has different opinions, and I named what my wingers order was the other day, and obviously for me, Garnacho and Ahmad are the best performing wingers at the moment. But what I would say is that, it takes a couple of performances and you're back in favour, so you just got to be able to take your chance. And I want everybody at Manchester United to do well. That's when Manchester United will be doing the best, when we have really good competition for places, and that's what the most important thing is. Daniel Lee, a member for 25 months, thank you very much, says, let's go, football is back. How would you define a good season, guys?
Ooh, Ricky?
I'd say getting in the top 4 would be good. I really would.
Trophy?
And I know, obviously it'd be great to win a trophy, but I think top 4's vital, because we've got to get Champions League football, haven't we?
I think winning the Europa League.
Winning the Europa League would be brilliant. But if you only had one option, obviously winning the Europa League gets you in the Champions League anyway. But our league positions are so important. It's got to be better. I wouldn't take finishing 8th or bloody 9th and winning the Europa League.
Well, this is what my brother was saying to me. He was saying, I hope United get top 4. I've gone for United 3rd, but he was saying it wouldn't surprise him if we were like 6th or something, and then Ten Hag saves his job by winning the Europa League and you're in the Champions League.
It's a trophy, so it's a good moment. We all love trophies.
It's great winning trophies, it is.
I think we'll get top 4 and win the Europa League.
Why not?
That's my prediction.
Why not?
We've not played a game yet, so it's easy to say.
There's a long way to go in the Europa League before we start talking about winning it.
Sean Atwood says, just joined, is there any early team news? We should be getting team news very soon, but he's going around Twitter that Amad Diallo does start today. That is the Twitter rumours. I'm not going to confirm anything, but apparently he starts. I mean, we're all massive fans of Amad, and he's come through a lot to eventually get his starting place, which you never know, might be taken away from him when players come back. But at the moment, I don't think anyone can say he doesn't deserve to start. And he's really shown and fought for this position, Ricky, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think he's absolutely. I've been saying it since last season. Since the beginning of the season. As soon as he got like 20 minutes here or 20 minutes there, he's just absolutely class. He knows where to run. His work rate's great. He plays with his head up. He sees the short passes. He's absolutely everything that I want to see from a winger. And I think he's head and shoulders above all the wingers, even Garnacho. I really do. I think he's fantastic. We've got an absolute gem there. And how the manager look, I don't want to harp on about last season, but how we got treated last season was an absolute disgrace, and hopefully he's seen the light now, the boss.
Maud, how are you feeling around Amad? Because for me, it's like I was saying, for me, the starting wingers at the moment should be Garnacho and Amad. I think they're the best performing wingers. I know you're a big Rashford fan, and I think Rashford will have a good season, actually. He looked very sharp in pre-season. But the thing is, for Erik ten Hag, obviously we bang on about squad depth, and you absolutely need that. You need multiple players competing. But it might give him a little bit of a headache now. Amad sort of forced his hand to get himself in the starting 11 because he's playing so well.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Amad, in terms of like form and output right now, Amad's probably our best player. He's probably our most reliable player right now. If I was going to count anyone to have a good game, I'd say, yeah, no, Amad would probably be the guy that I'd look to. I would actually rather Garnacho playing off the bench anyway, in general.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in general, because I just feel like teams set up, when it comes to, I know Rashford didn't have the greatest season, but I just think teams set up differently knowing that Rashford's going to start because of just the potential threat of what Rashford could do. Whether or not he does it during the game, that's a whole other conversation. You have to wait till we start the game. But I feel like teams set up differently when they know that Rashford's going to start compared to when they know that Garnacho's going to start. And when he comes in off the bench, I just think he's way more of a threat. Like what he did against City this season, like we did against City in the FA Cup like 2 seasons ago. I think last season he started way too many games anyway. Obviously due to injury, he had so many injuries, so he had to do that regardless. But
he started like 30 plus games in a row.
Yeah,
which
it is ridiculous.
19 is a lot.
It is a lot, yeah.
You could tell he was tiring, but his work rate was great.
Nah, fair play to him. He definitely put in a good fight, put in a good shift. So you have to give him his flowers. But I just think in general, as a substitute, as a threat coming off the bench, I think he's way more lethal. And I think he'll be. I think his biggest impact will be the fact that teams are not gonna be able to handle him for like 30 good minutes off the bench.
Well, I mean, that's interesting. Get in the comments down below what you guys think. I mean, a few Ten Hag quotes coming out. He actually said, I want to thank Wan-Bissaka for his contributions to our team and to this club. Thank you, Aaron. I wish you all the best at West Ham.
Well said.
Very classy from the manager. And he's been speaking about Mazraoui as well, who is rumoured to start. He said he can help us play more dynamic, and there are not so many defenders in world football who can defend, but are also very good in building up in the offence. He has the skill set, so now he has to prove it. Speaking very highly of Mazraoui. So excited to see him. Really excited to see him.
Can't wait.
And we've got some super chats in. I'm not reading out that name. Not reading it out because I'm not falling into the trap that Kev did. But I will read your super chat, and it says, should sell Lindelof to PSG as part of a swap deal. I don't think PSG are knocking on the door for Lindelof, mate. But
Why not?
You love Lindelof. Ricky sent me like a
top
2-page
centre-back.
essay on Lindelof the other day, didn't you? You love him, don't you?
I think he's a class player, yeah. He's played about 300 games for Man United. I sent the whole list. He's played about 300 games for Man United. The average position that we've finished in with him in the team is 4th. We've finished 2nd twice. We've finished 3rd twice. I reckon 99% of footballers in the world would swap their careers for his.
Careers?
Careers, yeah. I know.
What's he won though?
Well, it doesn't matter, does it? Because I actually said to you, it doesn't mean he's a world beater. I'm not saying he's a world beater, but there's hundreds of thousands of footballers in the world who won't have a career that he's had. They won't have a career. He's had a top career, make no mistake about it.
I personally think it's time for him to move on, to be honest. But we all have different opinions. D11 says, I'm pumped for this season. Let's go. Aki, welcome to the United Stand Members Club. And LMP says, I disagree. We didn't handle Amad well before. He's young and you don't go putting too much pressure on him too early. Now he's ready and playing more. So LMP disagrees with you, Ricky, and he thinks that Ten Hag's handled him the right way.
Well, isn't Garnacho a bit younger than him?
Yeah,
well,
sure.
doesn't that put that argument to bed just like that?
Well, you've been told by the Godfather in the middle. You've been told. But yeah, I've seen so many people, Mods, say how excited they are for this season. They feel like there's a positive energy around, the signings, the new coaches. I mean, is it just typical United fans getting ahead of themselves, or do you genuinely think that things are going to change the season for us and you're going to actually start to see us develop?
I think this is probably the first season where maybe there's been one other season, but where we actually see a full restructure, a full transformation from top to bottom. I think every other time we've had a transition, it might have just been a couple of new players coming in, or it might have just been a new manager or something like that. But now we're actually seeing a full change in the upstairs, in the head of recruitment. We've got new set piece coaches. We've also got Ruud in as assistant coach. Ten Hag, this is kind of his most important season of his life. Like this is like do or die for Ten Hag. And then on the pitch, it's like we finally made quite a few signings, considering like, you know, other teams haven't made 3-4 signings, like top signings. We've made quite a few signings. And then you look at the potential from the other players, for example, Mainu potential, he's got Garnacho the potential, you know, Ahmad, etc., Højlund. This is the first time I'm looking at United and thinking, you know what, everything seems to be going right. That it should be a great season. And it's not just like a blind fool, like, oh, why not? It's more like a, you know what, every single aspect of United right now is going in the right direction. So it should be a good season for us.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, and I think the positivity is warranted, and credit to, you know, the hierarchy who have put a lot in place this summer to give the fans that positivity. I do still think we need to sign a midfielder. I think that is absolutely key. But so far so good, and I'm very happy with the way that we've developed and the way that we're handling transfers now, and also the positivity around the club in terms of getting down to business and putting the right footballing people in charge of the right areas. It is looking like we're going in the right direction. That is one thing I would say. But speaking about a midfielder, Ten Hag's been speaking on Sky Sports, and he gets asked about wanting another midfielder. And he said, this club, you always have to look for better, and good is not good enough. We are happy. I'm happy with this squad we have in this moment, but you never know, especially when the window is open, what is going to happen. And also some more news coming out from Fabrizio Romano as well, that Ugarte is not part of the PSG squad to play. He's still pushing for a transfer, and it's likely that it could happen. You've already said how much you would want Ugarte. Mods, are you the same? Do you think we'll get that done?
100%. I think we'll get it done. I've just got so much confidence in Ineos right now. I just feel like anything that
feels like we don't lose when we want someone.
I feel like why wouldn't they get it done? Like maybe it could have been done earlier, but I guess that's just logistics. We probably don't know the full story behind the scenes. But I think the fact that PSG have clearly found their replacement already with Neves. So it's not like they need him to start or need him to play. So they obviously want him, not let me say they want him out, but they're not against selling the player.
They'll want to cash in for him out.
Yeah, they're going to want something for him. I mean, they spoke about the whole loan situation. I don't know about that. But I think that's one thing. And then two, the fact that Ten Hag said he spoke about the player, that he obviously fancies the player, he's a player that he's obviously thought about bringing to the club. And I think he suits the team. And I think the fact that we've also got some midfielders that are probably going to leave, maybe McTominay, maybe Casemiro, maybe Eriksen, it just seems right that he's going to fit right into the team and that he's going to be someone that's going to make a difference for us. I
think it's a standoff now. Obviously, PSG will want a good fee for him, but Manchester United will be patient and let's see how close it can get to deadline day, because you will want to cash in on him because you know the manager doesn't fancy him at PSG, and Ugarte clearly wants to leave. So PSG, really, the ball's in their court and will wait for the price to come down. I feel like that's the position we're in, but I agree with you. I really do think he suits that tenacious style of football that Ten Hag's trying to give, especially with the press that we've started to do. We were talking about the four players across the front pressing. Ugarte, I feel like, has the energy to bring into that midfield that we need. So fingers crossed. Eden FIFA says, I think Ricky would need a month off if McTominay left. Really looking forward to this game. Garnacho golden boot incoming. Well, that's a bold shout. Bold. Who do you reckon will get golden boot for United this year?
For United? Oh.
United's top scorer this season.
Højlund or Bruno.
That's what I said.
I would have genuinely put it against Bruno to get top scorer, which is wild though.
I think it'll be Bruno.
Yeah. If they pick him every week, I'll go Ahmad.
Oh really?
How many did Bruno get last season?
I don't know.
So look it
someone would have to say. Someone in the chat will tell us how many goals did Bruno get last season.
We're just talking league goals because that's easier to check.
I'm not sure, to be honest, but get in the chat what you think. Also, I wanted to ask the chat, get your opinions in, any questions, get your super chats in, any hot takes, let us know. We really want to be interactive in this show, and you control the show. Any subjects you want us to cover, let us know, and we will talk about it. Team news should be in soon. But I wanted to ask you guys, the chat, and we'll discuss it in the panel as well. What signing that Man United has made are you most excited for this season?
Ooh.
Ricky?
I've not seen enough of him, but from what I've been told about him, I'm going to say Zirkzee.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can't wait to see him.
I feel like he's your type of player.
So I'm told. I've got no idea. I've not seen him play. Like we spoke about, I might have seen a game that he played in, but when he's not linked with Man United, I'm not watching him closely. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I said on the show yesterday, I watched Ugarte playing for Uruguay in the Copa America because I knew we were linked with him and I liked what I saw. So I've never really watched Zirkzee with that in mind, that he might be a player for us one day. So I've got no idea what he's like apart from what I've been told, but that's other people's opinions. I like to make my own opinion up.
Breaking news from Sam C Reports, and he said, we know Sam always gets these right, don't want to put pressure on him, but he does. He said that he understands that Ligt does not start for Manchester United tonight, but Mason Mount does start.
That's interesting.
It is interesting, isn't it?
That's proper interesting.
I've heard that apparently Garnacho's on the bench. That's what I've heard.
Like
But Garnacho wasn't in the starting lineup.
Well, he's
anyway.
only just come back from Copa America.
Yeah.
And you were right in terms of off the bench, he did make such a good impact, and that's really great to have up your sleeve. But I'm honestly happy Mount starting, to be honest with you, because I said in my road trip, if you didn't watch it, or if you did watch it, thank you for watching. But I said, like, I really actually like the dynamic that we've had of Mount and Bruno both pressing from the front as that false nine. I feel like it gives us a lot more structure in the midfield, gives us more bodies behind the ball, like you've said. And I think they both have the energy and intelligence to do that. So I'm happy with it. Maud, what are you thinking?
In terms of Mount or the Ligt?
In terms, any opinions?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a similar not formation, but similar team selection to like the Community Shield, which I do think we actually played well in that game. Obviously, I didn't really get to speak about it on the show, but I think we played well in that game. We definitely pushed City, in my opinion, more than they pushed us, and we had the better chances. We just couldn't finish. Rashford had 2 great chances. I think Ahmad had a couple of chances as well. So I think offensively, the way we set up was great, and I think the fact that we're going to do that again today against a weaker defence, we should see similar results. Should see more opportunities. Again, just finishing your chances, finishing your food, and we should get quite a few goals, 2, 3, 4 goals maybe.
I also think there's a lot of disrespect towards Mount. I see a lot of people frustrated that Mount's starting. A lot of people saying he didn't do anything last season. Well, first of all, he was injured the whole of last season. What are you supposed to do when you're injured? Hopefully he can stay fit. That's one big thing he has to prove this season, because that was unfortunate. But what I would say is, I was speaking to you, Ricky, about this before. I think Mount goes under the radar a lot to a lot of people because he's not exactly the most flashy player, but he does the hard work and he does the stuff that isn't as noticeable. Like, he's not, always getting, goals and assists constantly. I mean, he did at Chelsea quite a lot, to be fair, but he's got a lot of energy. I think he's intelligent on the ball. I think he's press resistant. I think his positioning is good. And I think he's a proper team player, which is something I feel like Manchester United's been lacking, and I think he does bring that. I
still don't think long term he's got a place in the starting 11 though.
When everyone's fit, I don't think either.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see how Ten Hag works that.
Yeah.
Obviously, we'll go back before we get the full team in to who are you most excited about signing wise?
Ligt. I think Ligt because one, like I said with Zirkzee, in my opinion, I've actually not seen a lot of him, so I'm not gonna I've seen highlights and YouTube clips, but it's not a 90-minute game, you know what I mean? Whereas with the Ligt, I mean, we've seen him from Ajax days, back when, Ten Hag was managing Ajax. We've seen him at obviously Juventus and Bayern, and he played quite a few games. There's this weird thing where people are saying De Ligt was on the bench for the whole season. He played like 60-something games for Bayern, so he's been playing football. And also, I saw something recently as well. United finally releasing some kind of content on YouTube for the first time, but it was like De Ligt's first training session, and you could see how vocal he was in his first training session. For someone who's new, he doesn't know anyone. Well, you might know a few players, but he's obviously the newest player at the session. Super vocal, proper leader, and it felt like he was meant to be there. It felt like it was natural for him to be at the club and around that group of players. So he's obviously coming in with a strong mentality. He's not scared. He's not nervous about the occasion. He's not nervous about the badge. It's a big badge. It's a big shirt to wear. So I'm excited to see him come on the pitch and actually perform to what he's supposed to.
I would agree with you. I think De Ligt is I'm most excited for that. Yeah. What's your role? But obviously he's injured, so I can't get as excited about it. When he comes back, I'll be excited for that too. But for me, De Ligt is going under the radar, and I think he's such a big character to bring in. And we've needed an improvement, in my opinion, in the range of centre-backs we have, and I think he brings a lot. I can't wait for him to start playing. Today, obviously, he's on the bench, but I think it will be very soon that he cements himself as a starting player in that 11. Got some super chats in. Song Hyung Min, thank you for your super chat. Matt Gumi says, as someone who lives in the US, I appreciate you all for the content and making a welcoming place to fans to come together. Love this community, GGMU. Thank you so much. We appreciate you, and we would be nothing without the community we've built, so thank you for that. Biddy with a super chat. Dan Davey says, be the same team that started against City. And James C says, James C, thank you for your super chat as well. We've actually got the Leeds lineup. So this is the Leeds lineup, everyone. Obviously, we can never say it's 100% true. But Onana in goal, Diallo, Maguire, Martinez, Mazraoui, Mount, Casemiro and Mainu, Ahmad, Rashford and Bruno.
That's exactly the same team as Saturday with one change.
One change.
Which was the phone call that I got an hour ago from somebody else.
Yeah, it was. So Ricky got a phone call an hour ago which basically said the same. And it is the fact that Martinez has moved to left side, he's centre back, and Mazraoui comes in. Obviously been talked up by Ten Hag. Big occasion for him starting at Old Trafford. I'm excited. Do you reckon he'll start on the left or the right?
It could be either, you know, as we just said. I think he'll probably start on the left. They're bigging him up as being 2-footed, aren't they? Even more so than Diallo. So he'll probably start on the left. That'd be my guess.
Yeah, I think he'll start on the left. I know the reason why is I feel like whoever is going to be the priority or the main right back, I think Ten Hag's just going to try and keep them there for as much as he can. I think he's going to try and avoid having his fullback switching every other game, because naturally you want to build some kind of connection with your wingers and with your other players on that side of the pitch. So if Diallo's having to keep on switching back and forth, it kind of ruins the chemistry almost on that side, on that right hand side. So I think Diallo's going to be the starting right back for the majority of the season, and I think Ten Hag also thinks that as well. So I think he'd rather keep him there for as long as he can and then let Mazraoui start on the left.
See, I get that, but I also think I know he can play both, but he's naturally more of a right back. Yeah. If your first game you've just come, I would personally probably put him at right back to make him more comfortable, because we know Diallo has played left back in the United shirt quite a few times and he's got that confidence. But that's what I would do, but I know what Ten Hag's like, and when Amrabat first signed, he's not a full-back at all, and he put him straight in at left-back. So I think Mazraoui will start on the left. I would have been tempted to put Diallo on the left and Mazraoui on the right, but I trust the manager, and we'll see what happens on that. But yeah, that will be very, very interesting. I'm very surprised Garnacho's on the bench, I can't lie, because he seems to be, top dog for Erik Ten Hag last season. I know he's only just kind of come back from Copa America, but that's quite a bold call, would you say, Ricky? It
is we don't know for 100% yet that is the lineup. It's the Ligt's lineup, isn't it? But I think it'll probably be right. And I was a bit concerned that he might play Garnacho, because I'm desperate for Ahmad to play. At the same time, though, I wanted both Garnacho and Ahmad to play. I didn't want Rashford to play, and it looks like Rashford's going to be in the lineup, doesn't it? If that's correct. So I would have liked Garnacho and Ahmad on the wings. I really would. And unless it goes well the first hour, if with a couple of goals up, he might stick with it. But if it doesn't go so well, I can see Rashford getting subbed. I really can. But having said that, on Saturday he took Ahmad off.
Even though he was playing better.
Did he even take any interest in who's playing well and who isn't playing well? Ahmad was on fire for me. On fire, he was terrorising him.
I feel like he just prefers Garnacho on the right. That might just be his thing. He might just think, you know what, if I'm going to bring him on, I want him to play on the right wing.
Well, a lot of people saying
on the left then, a lot
of people saying, well, maybe it's Garnacho and Ahmad fighting for the right and Sancho and Rashford fighting for the left. I don't think Sancho will get a look in, to be fair. It looks like Sancho might still leave, so.
They can all play both sides, can't
they? Yeah, they can. So, on Gupta says, Maguire starting makes me want to throw up. Need Matthias still lit. A lot of people in the chat frustrated Maguire starting. What I will say is I thought Maguire did all right last game. And I think the reason why De Ligt isn't starting is probably because Maguire's done decent in his last few performances, and he might not be quite ready yet in terms of fitness. That's all I would say on that. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I also... you need your back four to have. We've just spoken about relationships on the park, and nowhere are they more important than in your back four. Nowhere are they more important. So Maguire knows all the other players really well. Apart from the left back. If De Ligt played, he'd know the left back better than anybody else. But you know where I'm coming from.
I think probably
it might be. Sorry, Moz. It might be better just to bring one new player into the back four rather than two.
Yeah, no, you're right. I was going to say, I think because it's the first game of the season as well, nerves, it's a big game for everyone's watching United right now. Every single team in the country, probably in the world as well, just watching United play because it's the first game of the Premier League season. So you probably think, Maguire's my more experienced player. Let me let him start, and then De Ligt come on and ease him into the game a little bit. The
thing is, for me, a lot of people are saying, come on, Beth, De Ligt has to start. And it's like, I would have started De Ligt, I've said that. And I think De Ligt will eventually start, but I'm thinking the only reason he's not, because we know Ten Hag rates him highly and he's had him before, he might just not be quite up to match fitness yet, but hopefully he'll start soon. Roy Keane's been speaking ahead of kick-off, and he said it's about players and characters turning up week in, week out for Manchester United, not just when they fancy it. And I think he's speaking facts there because, like we've seen, we can beat the best of teams when we turn it on.
Yeah.
But we just need to do that on a more consistent basis.
Can I bring one more thing up about the one change?
Of course you can, Ricky.
We've said many times before, when it's going well, he likes to keep the same team, the manager. Doesn't he? He's done that. He's done that on other, when we've won a game or two. He might make one change. It's not often he makes a lot of changes when the team's going well. In the little, we've had one or two little spells where it's gone well, and if we have a decent win today, it's all right saying I want to bring this player in and I want to bring that player in. He's only made the one. If it's right, what time is it now, Beth? We will have it for certain at 7 o'clock.
No, I think it's 15 minutes earlier than last season this time, so it's. We'll have it in 1 minute, hopefully.
Right, okay. So if it is that lineup that we think it's going to be, there's only one change, and one change is pretty average for what he does do when it's going well. So, if we have a decent win tonight, you might find that it's the same team again next week, apart from maybe one change. Yeah.
Diallo's been talking about Erik ten Hag's quote about the team not being ready, if you've seen that in the press conference. Yeah. And Diallo said, I think this quote has been taken out of context. What he means is that we are not at the same stage pre-season-wise as some players who came back later. I'm sure we will be ready to win the first game with our fans. I agree with Diallo there. I think, he's just talking about the rush of the Euros and the Copa America and stuff like that. But I think, we're in a good place and I'm hopeful. I really am hopeful. One thing I wanted to talk about, actually. Oh, interesting. More quotes coming out from Roy Keane. Let's see if any of them are worth bringing in. He said, time will tell and proof will be over the next few years with those signings. Of course, there's positivity, but they can't reproduce what they did last year, which was nowhere near good enough. They need to show personality. United have to show skill and to try and win football matches and not focus on what's going on in the background. These players need to turn up week in, week out. I love how honest Keane is, and I agree with what he's saying there. What I would say, and it's something I wanted to bring up, is Zirkzee. So many fans really wanted to see him. Didn't feature at all in the Community Shield. Apparently he played the game behind closed doors, but Ten Hag said he just isn't quite up to fitness levels yet. Does it worry you that we've not seen him at all yet?
A tiny bit, yeah, a tiny bit. I'd like to have seen him for 10 minutes here or 10 minutes there. Why he wouldn't give him 10 minutes in a pre-season friendly, I don't know, even if he wasn't really, fully up to speed. It's a tiny bit worrying, it is.
Okay, so we've got the confirmed lineup here for you, and it is the exact same as what we said before. So for anyone that's just tuning in now, for starters, why? We've been live for ages. No, but the lineup is official, and it is Onana, Diallo, Maguire, Martinez, Mazraoui, Casemiro, Mainu, Ahmad, Mount, Rashford, Bruno. Do you know what I would say is very interesting about this? Obviously, United have made quite a few signings. There's only one signing actually starting. New signing starting in our starting 11 first day of the season, which is a little bit mad, to be fair.
And he's only signed this week.
Yeah, Mazraoui.
And really, it's only because Euro got injured straight away. Yeah. And Zirkzee's kind of not injured, but he's just not fit.
Well, Zirkzee's on the bench and De Ligt's on the bench. Euro's obviously injured currently.
Can you read the bench out? Have you got the full,
not got the bench yet, but as soon as I've got it, I will read it out for you. I mean, I heard that Sancho, that's just come out. I heard that Sancho wasn't pictured. And neither was Lindelof, both potentially moving away from Manchester United. And it's just come out now that Jadon Sancho is not in the United squad tonight. Wow. I think a move will be on the cards for him. And I know it looks like everyone's made up and everything, and I think they have put it behind them, but I think ultimately both Ten Hag and Sancho probably will want to move in different directions. But the subs, I've got them now, Ricky.
Yeah, go on, let's hear
You ask and I deliver. It's Bayende, De Ligt, Evans, Eriksen, McTominay, Collier, Anthony, Zirkzee and Garnacho. So you have a whole front three there.
Good bench.
You have Anthony, Garnacho and Zirkzee, which is a whole different front three. You have De Ligt and Evans to come on as centre-backs. You've got McTominay in there and Collier.
It's been looking good.
Collier, I would say, is... I did this on my predictions video on my own YouTube channel, actually, and I said, for me, Collier is the one to watch, is the breakout star this season. A lot of people hyping up Harry Armas. I do think he's got, a lot of skill, but I think Collier's a little bit further ahead of him in terms of his development and his rankings with Ten Hag. Ten Hag seems to really rate Collier. What did you think about him on the pre-season tour, Rick?
Really good. Really good. Very impressed.
Very impressed.
Yeah, very impressed. Really shows for the ball, takes it comfortably, turns well, seems to pass it well. What I've seen of him, yeah.
Do you think this is Collier's breakthrough season, Mods?
Breakthrough season is a bit harsh.
That's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah, only because I feel like for you to have a breakthrough season, you have to have opportunity. I don't think he's going to get that much opportunity, especially because, let's be honest, Mainoo's not going to get dropped, Bruno's not going to get dropped, and if anyone's going to come on, it'd be Mason Mount, you know what I mean, and Casemiro's still here. So I think...
Plus we're looking for another midfielder.
So it's just that opportunity factor is going to potentially hold him back, which isn't, I don't think it's a bad thing, because we shouldn't even be looking for him to play a lot of games anyway. No. We shouldn't be trying to force him into the first team. So
is it even possible that he might go out on loan if we signed another one?
I wouldn't mind that.
It's usually a youngster who does, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't think he'll go out on loan. I interviewed him on the tour and he said that is, obviously it's probably not up to him, but he said his aim for the season is to be part of the first team squad, and he doesn't want to go on loan, he wants to stay and be part of the first team. And I also heard from like a few journalists over there that Ten Hag sees him as being part of the first team squad this season, so I think he's one that will be in and around it. Maybe other players, but I think he's, you know how every season at United someone gets brought through. Last season it was Mainoo, season before that it was Garnacho. I think Collier will be the guy this season. That's just my feeling about it from being around the squad a lot in the pre-season, but we'll see. We'll see on that one. But everyone is getting their chats in. Everyone's super excited. By the way, we have 18,000 people watching, which is absolutely crazy.
Amazing for a build-up show.
Exactly. No Mark Goldbridge and there's 18,000. It's crazy stuff. Hit a like on the video if you haven't already. Get a super chat in if you want your voice heard. Let me know in the comments who you're most excited to see. What's your score prediction? How do you think we'll line up? How are you feeling around this season? Everything. We all want to know what you're thinking. Rookie the Explorer says favouritism is still alive and well. Rashford should not start over Garnacho and Harry should not be starting over De Ligt. I honestly think it's where they're at fitness levels. I don't think it's favouritism right now, but that's my opinion. Untamed Voice says just hope the physios won't be as busy as last year. Me too. Richard Robinson, thank you for your super chat. Jesus says Zirkzee is starting with Ahmad and Garnacho. No, he's not. Zirkzee's on the bench. That's Hoff says Maguire, more of an experienced player than De Ligt. Come on, Mars. De Ligt is only 25 and has already won multiple league titles. Thank you for your super chats, everyone. Thank you for everyone getting involved. Go on, Mars.
No, I just meant like for United, like it's a new signing. Maguire's played for United for a long time. Obviously, it's the first game of the season. You're going to want to play one of your more experienced United players than of a new signing.
Also, as well, everyone, Sancho and Lindelof not in the squad. Does that mean that moves are on the cards for them? Because apparently they could be moving before the end of the transfer window. Ricky is gutted. All his favourite players are getting shifted. But interesting stuff. Get your opinions in down on that. I don't think they'll be missed in today's game is all I will say on that. I think we've got a decent bench. And we were just talking before, so get your comments in on this because I'll go back to this. I'll ask you, Maud. A lot of people were really itching to see Zirkzee, obviously the striker we've brought in, to create that depth when Højlund isn't available, but still isn't getting into the starting 11. Ten Hag was quite cautious about him. They've spoken about him getting back up to fitness and how he's not been training with the first team, so he's a little bit off it. Strange because obviously Mazraoui's just come in and he's straight into the 11.
Yeah.
Are you worried at all on Zirkzee? Because people were coming up to me before when I was walking around the ground saying, is he not fit or is he coming in as Ten Hag think, oh, he's actually not good enough? Like, what do you think it is?
I definitely don't think it's a case of he's not good enough. I think people, like, they take pre-season a bit too serious because pre-season to me is literally just training games and warm-up just to see, like, I don't know, get a bit more sharp. It's not a definite example of how the coach is going to set up for the whole season. I mean, I remember when Haaland first came in, he missed like 2 open goals and everyone was like, oh, he's going to be a flop, he's not going to work in the Prem, and then he scored like 36 goals. So I don't think pre-season is going to be an exact replica of what's going to happen. I genuinely just think is one, like Ricky said, Ten Hag doesn't like to change the lineup a lot, and for the first game of the season, you kind of want to get off to your best start. You don't even want to be experimenting too much. I know it's Fulham, and yeah, we should beat Fulham, but any game, at first game of the season, every game's a big game. You know what I mean? So you're gonna want to just go with what you know. The Community Shield was a decent game in terms of like performance against City. So we just think, you know what? Let me not risk starting Zirkzee. Let me just start what I know is gonna work. And then during the season, let's ease him into the team. And the thing is, yeah, as United fans, last season, when we were forcing players to start and then they were getting injured straight away, we were all complaining, saying, why did we play him so much? Why did we do this? Now that we're trying to like ease players into the team and whatnot, it's like, oh, we want him to start straight away. Let's just have a little bit of what's the word? Like patience.
Yeah,
you know
patience, 100%.
A bit of patience and just let these players develop into the team.
There's something else as well about him not playing today. Not that I am surprised that he didn't get 5 or 10 minutes in pre-season, but we have been playing, for a few when I say a few weeks, I'm going back to last season. We've been playing with these 2 false 9s or two number 10s, if you like. In the cup final, it was Bruno and McTominay, and then in the Charity Shield, it was Bruno and Mount. And we're playing in our defensive shape. We're playing with 4 at the back, only 2 in midfield, which I don't like. But we've got a front 4, and that front 4 are staying in line, and they're settling back behind the ball, making it difficult for the defenders to find the midfield players, making them knock too many more long balls than they would like to knock. When they're not long balls, it favours our defenders. So the way United are lining up at the minute, it suits with the 2 false 10s. And what I'm leading to here, if it goes well today, he won't change it next week. If it goes well next week, he won't change it for the Liverpool game. And in the Liverpool game, it's probably more important still that you've got, the two lads who are playing as the nominated strikers, if you like, they actually are midfield players. So it gives us that much more solidity. Yeah. So I'm hoping I'm desperate for it to go well. If it does go well and keeps going well, it might be a while before we see Zirkzee get a start.
Well, I was about to say, remember when we first bought Casemiro in and he didn't start for ages because we were winning with McTominay in the team, and then as soon as we kind of lost, then Casemiro came in, obviously did really well. So like you said, Ricky, like if this team wins, which we hope it does, and it goes on a winning streak, it's going to be hard for them players that are left out now to get back into the team. We don't want the team to win just so to keep them players out. We just want the team to win, don't we? Yeah,
you know what I mean?
100%.
And that's a knock-on effect.
100%. And a lot of people in the chat are saying that Mazraoui had a full pre-season with Bayern, whereas obviously De Ligt was coming back from an injury, and so he's not had the full pre-season, which could be a reason why De Ligt doesn't start and Mazraoui does. And obviously Zirkzee as well. Ten Hag was saying only just got back fit from his injury to go to the Netherlands, but didn't really play much, so he's been getting his fitness back. I think that's hopefully the only reason, but it's great to have them players on the bench and have depth. This is what United fans need to understand. We need depth. We need strength in depth, and that's how the good teams stay consistent, because if players are tiring, you want to substitute them with players that are as good as them, or at least nearly on the same level, not a complete drop-off, which we've had in the past. So I'm super excited for that. BK says, truly love you guys. Finally, we're back in action. Let's go United. Yes, everyone is absolutely buzzing for today's game. Ben Niblet says, Mount right, Rash up top, and Bruno in a 3, I think. Nara, Ahmad will be on the right, I think, and Mount will be just in behind Bruno, in my opinion. And Stuart says, everyone is moaning about De Ligt not starting, but he hasn't played a game since the 18th of May. Interesting stuff. Thank you for your insight there. Corey Luce, a member for 32 months. Thank you very much. LJ says, cheers to having football back with the United to kick it off. Thank you to all 3 of you for helping pass the time and carve the nerves. All the love. Everyone's saying it feels like the build-up's taking so long, but it's just because everyone's so excited. And yeah, thank you everyone for your super chats. Anything else you want to get in the chat, let us know. Anonymous says, I kind of want to see Onana's antics today, but hope the ball doesn't go into the back of the net. Big season for Andre Onana, actually. I mean, Ricky started off very shaky last year, started to come good in the new year. He was absolutely making me crack up in the Community Shield penalty shootout. I was watching it on holiday, and me and my dad and my brother were watching it, and we just couldn't stop laughing at his antics. He's such a character. When he was like that to Haaland, then he just stuck it, and he
scored.
But he did save one, and he seems like he's coming into his own. He said it took him 6 months just to adapt, not even just to start playing well. Big season for him. How do you think he'll do, Rick?
How do I think he'll do? Is just first thing I'm going to say, I hope it goes great for him. How's he going to do? Hopefully he can continue. I noticed the way they want to try and start playing out from the back. That was the idea about signing him in the first place. And I noticed something in the Community Shield that made me a bit nervous, and I'm not sure I'd want to see it too often. Where we had a dead ball kick, and Harry Maguire was on the ball on the corner of the 6-yard box, and Onana was 10 yards square in Maguire and asking for the ball, and Maguire was probably thinking it's a bit too close to our goal, and he didn't give it him. And I don't know if you remember it, but Onana actually went out towards the penalty spot and then sort of said, "Give it me now," and Maguire went, "No chance." So I hope we don't see too much more of that.
The thing is, what the back 4 need to do, the back 5, they need to trust each other and be on the same wavelength. I mean, you would think that De Ligt is eventually going to take Maguire's place. I mean, I hope he does well today, but you would think that eventually, for the amount of money obviously we've spent on 2 new centre-backs, mods. But you look at it and you'd say the eventual back 5, you would say is going to be Onana, Diallo, either Shaw or Mazraoui, and then you'd have Martinez and either De Ligt or Euro in the centre. They're all players now because this was a criticism of Wan-Bissaka, they're all players that can play out from the back and are quite, press resistant when it comes to the ball. Do you think you'll then start to see like the fruits of what Onana was actually brought in for, which is obviously playing out from the back and playing that higher line?
Yeah, definitely. I think that was Ten Hag's real, like, his main focus or his main style of play, being able to play with centre-backs who can keep a high line because they can keep the ball. When you don't have centre-backs that can keep the ball, you have to drop back. And when you drop back, you're just forcing a really high press from the other team, which just makes Onana have to just ping it long every single time because he doesn't know who to pass it to. So it all stems from the goalkeeper, which is, I guess, that's modern day football nowadays. Everything starts with the goalkeeper, and him being able to play football, with, like you said, a Euro, Ligt, Martinez, and obviously Mazraoui and Diallo. It means that we can actually push the ball forward, and we've got a lot of players who can even like come out of position a little bit. Because last season, let's say we were playing with maybe a Johnny Evans or maybe a Maguire or potentially a Lindelof. It was a bit more risky if they were to come out of position because pace-wise, even Varane, pace-wise, they're not as quick. So if we were to lose possession, it's like, it's a bit more risky. But now you've got quick defenders. Everyone can get back into position and everyone can cover each other. So I think there's probably going to be a lot more risk that's going to be taken this season. I mean, I know Onana spoke about I don't know if that was actually true or not, but when he spoke about he's going to take more risks this season.
Someone's just super chatted in. Cybus Linda says, Onana says he's going to take more risks this season.
Yeah.
He already takes the biggest risk, not knowing how to stop the ball from going in the net.
But yeah, I think he is going to probably do that. I think he's probably going to take more risks because now he's a bit more comfortable with the players that's around him, and he's going to think, you know what, I can actually find these passes now because everyone's in the right position, and I trust these guys on the ball a lot more than I probably did last season. Yeah,
I think that's a really good insight actually, and I hope he has a good season because obviously it's important that your goalkeeper has a good season. It's really important. Kaush, but also, I don't want to have to always be calling on Onana to make saves. I want us to not.
That's the main point.
That's the thing. I want us to not be conceding like stupid amounts of shots. Yeah. Like I want him to only have a few saves to make in a game, if not that. I want him to be quite quiet because I want our team to be able to defend to stop the opposition team from shooting. Because last season, like we were getting absolutely rinsed by opposition fans and even the media for how many shots we were conceding. Yeah. And like I saw something like even though Onana didn't have the best season, he had like the highest save conversion rate because he was facing that many shots.
We faced like 20-25 shots a game.
I mean, minimum. That Brentford game, remember how many shots we faced on that? The away game when it was like 1-1.
Yeah,
it's crazy. So that's the main thing, isn't it, Ricky?
Yeah, we have worked on it. The team shape's been a lot better, as I spoke about earlier, for 5 games now, including the Arsenal game. I think if you go all the way back to that Arsenal game, I think we only conceded 11 shots in that game, which was the lowest for some time, and that's against Arsenal. And I know it's at Old Trafford, but bloody Bournemouth had a lot more shots at Old Trafford, and Fulham had a lot more shots. Do you know what I mean? I think the team shape's looking great, and I hope it keeps up and prevents him from having to make so many saves.
Yeah, and I think part of that was because of our midfield as well. I think the reason why we conceded a lot of shots because our midfield is a bit leggy, a bit slow, and a lot of the shots came because one of our midfielders might have lost their runner, or a lot of them were like cutbacks into the edge of the box, and then there's loads of shots coming on from there. That all actually stems from the midfielders. The midfielders have got to do their job to protect the back four. If the back four is just by themselves and there's just big gaps in the middle of the pitch, you're going to concede a lot of shots because teams are going to see a lot of space and think, you know what, why not? Let's have a go. Onana might not be on form today. He might make a mistake, but I think if the midfield is strong, whether it's Mainu, Casemiro started today, and Mount, and obviously Bruno, so four-man midfield. If they're all strong defensively, we're going to see a lot less shots because the midfield's going to be more compact. Yeah.
Do you know what's interesting? Smith Rowe starts for Fulham, their new player. That's definitely one to watch for sure. Yes, you've got Bernd Leno obviously in net. You've got Tete, Calvin Bassett, Muniz, Traore, Iwobi, Pereira, Lukic, Diop, Smith Rowe, and Robinson. It's a decent team.
Yeah.
It's a decent team. Obviously, that's not in complete order, that's just a number order. So you'd have to work that out or go and look on the lineup situation.
On the right,
just going back to what we were speaking about before you read the team out there. I'd like you to make a note. Maybe one of the backroom staff, Ryan or Greg. We want to know when we start the show after the game. I want to know how many shots they had.
Yeah,
and I'm hoping Fulham have less than 10 shots tonight.
Okay, that's your target you're setting for the team.
That's my target, yeah. When we've been getting 21, 22, 25, even more occasionally, I want Fulham to have less than 10 shots.
We're at home, so you'd like to think so. So tune into the fan forum to see what happens later. We'll be live after the game, and hopefully Ricky's expectation of conceding less than 10 shots does come true. I mean, Traore that you were saying,
On the right.
Mazraoui has to deal with Traore, that is a big matchup to start on your debut, especially because I've seen a lot of people like obviously saying how good technically Mazraoui is, but everyone's saying physically maybe he's not the most, strongly built, not the most physical. We know how physical Traore is, so if he is on the left, Mazraoui, then that's going to be a really interesting matchup to see.
It's good competition. I think it's a good way for him to. Yeah, it's good way for it's thrown in the deep end, which is it's not the best opposition or the best player to start off your first game against, but it's a challenge, and I think if you can come over this and you can put in a good performance defensively. I'm not going to say he can come up against anyone because there's obviously better wingers in the league, but it's definitely a confidence boost for him.
He's a proper handful Traore, isn't he?
Yeah.
Proper.
Pace-wise, flipping out, yeah.
But he'd be tough for Diallo as well, I think. I think he's just a tough player for
of course it is.
a lot of fullbacks to go against, so that's going to be one that I'll definitely be watching. We have some super chats coming in. A lot of people are saying, where's Sancho? He's not in the squad, so make of that what you will. I think he might be on his way out of United, to be fair. Mikael Pedersen says, what is Rashford doing in Garnacho's place? Again, I think it is fitness, but we know how much Ten Hag does like Rashford. Lars Christensen says, Sancho for Ugarte, no cash exchange. Is that a possibility? I'd take that, personally, just because I don't see Sancho having a future at Old Trafford, so I would take that. Would you guys take that?
Yeah.
I'm a big Sancho fan, and even I'd take that.
Just because of the position we're in right now.
Yeah.
Kaju Deb says, can't wait to see Rude back in Old Trafford. A fanboy moment for me. And we have James S saying, this is worse than last year's best team. Maguire for Varane, Rashford for Garnacho and no striker. Not a good start. Does Ten Hag want to keep his job? Thanks for the positivity, James. Wayne List says, I think Ten Hag is giving Rashford the chance to play his way out of the team. Dropping him in game one would be too big a statement and the media would go nuts. Yes. I think we just got to support all the players that are in the team tonight, to be honest with you, and I hope Rashford does have a good game, I really do. Ben Niblett, we've done that one as well. Thank you everyone for your super chats coming in. A lot of people saying he's not wrong. I mean, did you see that Varane got injured like 20 minutes into his first game for Como?
Yeah.
This is what I mean. Obviously, I'm gutted for the guy because I love Varane at United. But that's one of the reasons why we did have to move him on this season. And, you know, we've replaced him by the younger version of him, Yoro, who he's also injured as well.
Oh, yeah, true. I heard that there was already a sign that he had like a fracture in his...
Yeah, metatarsal.
Yeah.
Which is frustrating. Yeah. What I don't get is, like, if we signed him with an injury, why was he playing pre-season? Yeah. Like, he should have just been nursing it, or we should have just given surgery straight away. But it is what it is, and hopefully, like, he can recover as quickly as possible. And Højlund as well, I want him back as soon as possible. I think it could be a really big season for him. I mean, in terms of overall predictions, guys, this is one I wanted to ask you, and everyone get your predictions in the chat as well. Who do you reckon will be United's player of the season this year? Or this season?
Mainly.
Ooh, you just threw me right off there. It's a great shout. It's a great shout, yeah. I'll go with Manu as well.
Go with Manu too.
I think the thing with Manu is that, like, goals and assists, he's not going to be up there because that's not his role, really, in the team. Even though...
Gets a few goals, though,
yeah, even though I actually think he probably could do a lot better. I saw him in an interview one time and he said that he enjoys creating a lot. Like, he's not just someone who runs around and just passes the ball and keeps it ticking. He's someone who actually likes to create goals, and you'd be seeing him finish amazingly.
Some great goals last year.
Liverpool, great goal.
Yeah. Got a goal in the cup final.
Wolves, great goal. So he can definitely get goals and assists, but I don't think that's going to be his role this season. I think he's going to be our player this season because every single game he's going to give us an 8 out of 10. And I think every game we're going to come back out of that game thinking, you know what, even if we lose a game, I've got confidence that Manu will still have a good game. I've not seen a game where I thought, that's a bad game, like, in general. Every single game I see Manu play, I thought, the team might have played bad, but I could tell that he's tried and he's definitely done his part, you know what I mean? And I think overall, when we look back in the season, we're going to think, you know what, he's the guy that has been the most consistent and has played the best for United.
Ten Hag has said, by the way, I agree with you guys. In my predictions, I had Manu as my player of the season, and it took a lot for me to put him over Bruno. But I think Manu is got like so much ability. It's crazy, and the sky's the limit for him. Ten Hag has been asked about playing the 4-2-2-2 formation, and he says we've worked on this a lot. We started it already last season. It is a very good formation for us. Like you were saying, Ricky, changed it up a bit, hasn't he? He's liked it.
Yeah, a lot of people said that after the cup final 4-2-2. In defensive shape in the cup final, the two wingers took right in. but it wasn't quite the same at the weekend. They were a little bit wider, and Mount and Bruno were a touch further up than Bruno and McTominay were in the cup final, and it was like a 4 spread across the field. In defensive shape, I think it's more like a 4-2-4 than a 4-2-2-2. But I take his point. We have got two false nines, if you like, and I do like it. I do like it. So as we've just said, if it goes well, it might be some time before any of these. You know, if we're not going to play with a striker, what chance have the striker got? You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I mean the thing is that's the situation now. You do have Højlund and Zirkzee there fighting for that spot, so it'll be interesting to see how,
if there's a spot there,
he integrates them in. It really will be. I mean, P Bug says more possession and proactive movement without the ball, please. Yes, 100%. And Shahin says Ricky appreciation super chat. Ben Niblet says, where do you see Maino's position in a few years, the 6 or the 8? 8 for me.
Yeah, great, yeah.
And I think it'd actually be really cool to play him and Ugarte as a double pivot, kind of, you know, basically like two 8s there.
Casemiro gets that, does he?
Yeah. I mean, I thought Casemiro played well in the Community Shield, but since like February, since he came back into the team last season, he was so bad. So bad.
He played quite a bit of centre-back towards the end, didn't he? But he was struggling in midfield
in the Community Shield, he did well, though. So we'll see how he goes. But for me, he has to be phased out eventually for me. And the sooner the better, in my opinion. MKU33 says, player of the season will be Ligt. Remember this. Well, it's a bold shout, but I think he definitely could be signing the season. Gavin McCoe says, get in there, the wait is finally over. Great work from the United Stand during the pre-season tour. Thank you very much. Mazraoui to have man in the match performance. Watch and see. Love the positivity. We hope so. Chris Cooper says, defo a minutes clause in Rashford's contract. I don't believe all this contract stuff personally, but it's
hard to believe, but how poorly have you got to play for how long before you lose your place in the team? Blows me mind.
I mean, there is a lot of theories out there. I mean, in terms of how you want to see us play this season, what are you expecting to be different from last season? Is it more about, like you said, like conceding less chances and being more compact?
Yeah, being more compact, working harder basically, getting behind the ball more quickly and having all the players behind the ball when they've got the ball. And when I've just said about Marcus there, by the way, I have got to give him a little bit of kudos. In the cup final, he played it to a T. He played it to a T, but it was more about, you see, 99% of fans, they just think wingers are there to try and beat a full-back, try and get a ball across, try and score a goal. But in a game like that, the most important job you've got to do is to stop their full-back. That is your most important job. Doesn't matter. All you've got to do is score a goal or two. It doesn't matter where they come from. And it happened. It happened. So you've just got to stop them. And Marcus Rashford had a cracking game in the cup final, and I'm not his biggest fan. So kudos to him for that. And maybe they're still thinking like that the team shape's right. He's worked hard on the team shape. He's doing his job team shape-wise. I mean, he missed chances at the weekend. You know, there was also, just before he came off, a ball that went under his foot that was terrible, and it went out for a throw-in. But you know, just team shape wise and staying in position, he was better in the cup final than I've seen him for some time. Yeah,
and I completely agree. And I think one thing for me with United, and it was a big problem last season, is how can I put it, like playing well even if we're going down, or even if things are not looking positive, because so many times that season we play well for 20 minutes and then for some reason we might concede one goal and everyone's heads down and it's like the rest of the game is playing terribly, and I'm thinking we've just had a good 15, 20 minutes of just good football, keeping possession, creating chances, everyone's making the right moves, we compact, we're pressing together, and all of a sudden out of nowhere, like, everything just changes. I think that's one thing that United need to definitely change up this season, is you play like that for the whole game. That's why teams like City and Liverpool, even if they play bad for a whole for 70 minutes, they could still win the game, because in the 80th minute they're still doing what they were doing in the 5th minute and the 10th minute, and it's the same mentality that they had early on in the game that they've got later on in the game. But for some reason United, the mentality kind of drifts and it settles down a little bit as the game goes on. Maybe that's a Ten Hag thing that he needs to install into his players. Maybe that's a captain thing. Bruno needs to be on the pitch and bring up, you know, the energy on the pitch. In general, you're all professional footballers. You should know this by now anyway. You're grown men, so you should be able to keep that energy for the whole 90 minutes. So that's one thing that I'm looking for this season. Play for a whole game the way you're supposed to. Don't just do it in little spurts.
Correct.
I get what you mean. We need to be more cohesive as a team unit. and we need to be more consistent, and that's what the best teams do. That's why City have been so dominant for so long, is because one, they have the depth to do it, but they are so consistently good week in, week out, and that's what United need to find. They need to find that consistent rhythm. I am aware, Maud, that you are leaving us 15 minutes early today. So I want to, can't believe you're leaving us early on the first day of the season.
Back for the forum.
Yeah, you're back for the forum. But I wanted to ask you before you go, what is your score prediction for today's game?
Oh, I think we're going to score quite a few goals. Because of the Community Shield and we're setting up the exact same way, and we had some great chances, I'm hoping that we can finish them off. So I'm going to say 4. 4. And I'm feeling positive about the defence.
I love that.
I'm feeling positive about the defence as well. Maybe I'm just being optimistic and the sun's out, so I'm just thinking that it's going to be a great game. But always liable to concede 1 goal, so I'm going to say 4-1.
Going for that lead score that we had a couple of years ago.
4-1, best start of the season, and then whatever happens after that, I don't know.
4-1, I absolutely love it. Get in the comments what you think about that. Who are your goal scorers?
Ooh, goal scorers. You know, because of my FPL, Bruno's in there, so Bruno's going to have to score at least 1 goal for me. Maybe get an assist. Rashford has to get he's going to get similar chances that he got in the Community Shield game, so I'm just hoping he tucks them in. So maybe like Bruno 1, Rashford 1, and then the other 2, we'll give it to someone random. Like let's get Mazraoui a goal or something like that. You know, one of them, or Mainoo a goal or something like that.
Would love that. Yeah. Do you know what I've just realised? Obviously, while I've been doing the show, the FPL deadline went past. I was switching between Garnacho and Ahmad for so long. I put Garnacho in, he's bloody benched. It's like so annoying. Hopefully he comes off the. Hopefully he comes off, and I've just realised Bruno is my captain because that's what I left it on. So hopefully he does well. If not, I'm in the mud already. Game week 1.
I've had something in my mind here for 3 minutes.
Go on.
So I just spoke about Rashford and keeping the team shape in the cup final, and don't forget the fullback he was against was Kyle Walker, and he kept like 10 yards between him and Walker all the time. Walker never barely got a chance to go past him. I think he got to the dead ball line once. But today, if it's, well, it doesn't matter who's playing left back, but it'll probably be, how do you pronounce it? Mazraoui.
Yeah.
He'll probably be playing left back. Rashford's got to help him with Traore there. He's got to be there helping him. Time, you know, I know we're hoping to have the ball more. We're at home. It's again, I shouldn't say only, but it's against Fulham. It's not against Man City. We're hoping to have more of the ball. We're hoping to attack more, like you've just said. We're hoping to score more goals. When they've got the ball though, that lad's going to need help from his wing.
Pace-wise, he's probably going to be the only one who can match him anyway. So he's going to need to be on him.
Interesting stuff. Opening weekend wins of the Premier League season. United are top of the table with 21. Can we make it 22? I really hope so. I really hope so. Chelsea second on 20, which is really, really interesting. So I'm hoping that we can do that for sure. Derek Williams says, De Ligt never had a pre-season with Bayern. He was on holiday. Let him build his fitness 1 more week. Yeah, a lot of chats coming in. A lot of predictions coming in there. The only thing is for Fulham, for me, they're a very physical side, which is something that worries me a little bit, Ricky, in terms of our physicality. Yeah, they are. I mean, we just spoke about Traore. He's a physical player as well. It's not just about his pace. I think Maud's just said Rashford might match him for pace, and he might match him for pace, but he won't match him for strength. You get knocked over by that kid. Anybody can get knocked over, not just Rashford. By him, he's a really powerful lad. Proper powerful. So you know, we could have a bit of trouble, you know, physicality wise, but we've got a few strong lads ourselves in the team as well, Casemiro, Maguire, etc. So fingers crossed we'll be okay. Do you see it as a game as Scott McTominay will come off the bench? It's difficult to say because you don't know how the game's going to go, do you? You know what I mean? I was about to say if we need a goal, he'll bring a winger or a striker on, but you could bring McTominay on if you need a goal. He tends to do it, don't he, when he comes up? Well, he's done it a couple of times going off the bench. There's as much chance of McTominay coming on as anybody else because he can do so many different things. Do you think it's one of them games today, whereas if McTominay doesn't really get any game time, it's sort of a hint it's time to move on, and you might see him move away from Old Trafford? Because you don't know how the game's going to go. I mean, he's not necessarily going to take Casemiro off, is he? So McTominay's not really going to expect to get a game in that position. Maybe Mainoo, and he might get 10 minutes in Mainoo's position. But it's really difficult to say which substitutes are going to get. We might have a couple of injuries that you can only make 3 subs, can't you? We might have a couple of injuries in defence. It might necessitate you using your subs
before you've even got a thought of about tactical subs. You know what I mean? So it's really difficult to predict who you're going to substitute.
For me personally, I think if McTominay doesn't get on tonight, I think that's a big hint from Erik ten Hag to be like, you know, we are looking to sell a midfielder.
Well, Maguire went off after an hour at weekend. Say he goes off after an hour and Ligt comes on. Let's just say Mazraoui can't keep up the pace for the full game and he goes off. You've only got one sub left.
No, you've got 5 subs.
You make 5 subs these days.
It's 5 subs now in the Premier League. It's been 5 subs for a couple of seasons now, Ricky.
Yeah, it used to be 3, didn't it? It should be 3.
You think it should? I like
It should
having
be
5.
3.
I can't lie.
Yeah,
I
it
like
should
having
be
5
3.
to be honest. So
I'm getting old, Beth. I forgot that. It's been 5 for ages, hasn't it?
yeah, he'll make a few changes going forward. I'll be really interested to see if Zirkzee actually does come on, because if I'm Zirkzee, I'm like, you know, Højlund's injured, and obviously, you know, you want everyone fit, and I can't wait for Højlund to get back fit. But it's like, I'm thinking, I'm at a new club. I'm itching to play, especially at Old Trafford, and I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, this is my opportunity now to get that starting position as, you know, the number 9 for United, because Højlund's injured. This is my chance to kind of grab it. And if, you know, early doors, you want to be doing that as a new signing coming in and as a new striker coming in. So that's interesting because, you know, you've got the first game at Old Trafford at home. That's a really good opportunity for you. Then you go to Brighton away. That's a tough game. Then it's Liverpool at home. That's a tough game. And then you're 3 games in and it's like, where does my game time come? So it'll be interesting to see how Erik ten Hag kind of brings him into the team. Do you think it'll be a while till he gets some game time, do you reckon?
It could easily be, like we've just spoken about. We might keep the 2. If it goes well, we'll keep the 2. You know, the 2 false 9s, won't we? We've got, you know, the back 4s. If we keep a clean sheet, he's not going to change the back 4 again. It's just so difficult to predict. If we go well, it'd be difficult for anyone else to get any much game time. Obviously, he'll use subs, and the subs will depend on how the game's going. If we're winning 3-0, he might even change 1 or 2 defenders.
Walks has said that McTominay needs to get on the Fulham coach after the game. Sorry, Ricky. Well, Fulham were really interested in, weren't they? So it'll be in like that's the thing I'm watching. Do you remember when Fred was nearly signing for Fulham, and you seen him after the game having that chat with Marco Silva, and everyone's like, oh, he's going to sign for Fulham. That'll be something that could be one to keep an eye out, because obviously that's something that's been rumoured all summer, but Fulham just couldn't quite put up the money that we wanted for him. I mean, there's so many people predicting a really big win for Manchester United. Do you remember that opening day of the season against Leeds and we won 4-1? When Varane got revealed, Ollie was in charge still.
Was it 4-1? Yeah.
Yeah, it was 4-1.
Did we beat them 6-1 once as well?
Yeah, that was midway through a season though. So that, I mean, it'd be nice to have a big opening score. I just want to win. I just want to win.
I'll take any win.
Do you think he has to win today? Obviously, I know, you know, it's not the end of the world if we don't, but I think everyone's expecting a good season. You know, you've got Brighton and then Liverpool. Really, you do have to win this game.
Desperate to win it, and if he doesn't have to win, it's not, you know, his job's not going to be under pressure if we don't win today. But it's what, like you've just said, it's what follows on. You've then got Brighton away. That's not an easy game. Then you've got Liverpool at home. That's, you know, if we don't win today, before you know it, there could be 3 games gone without a win. And then people do start talking. You've got some more super chats coming in. Alif Visual says Garnacho has physically improved. Jeremiah says, yes, I'd rather Ligt and Garnacho starting, but it's a new season. Let's back this lineup. Come on, United. That is the right attitude. Love it. And Simon Slade saying no new players are starting. Got Maguire in centre back. Mazraoui starting actually. P Bug says more possession and proactive movement without the ball. I have done that one. Got some quotes coming out from Jamie Carragher regarding Kobbie Mainoo, which are really interesting to see from, obviously... Complimentary, I hope. Yeah, obviously a ex-Liverpool player. He says that Jamie Carragher on Mainoo has said he's been a revelation. I love watching him play, and I loved what he did over the summer with England at the Euros. At the start of the season, we were asking questions about Manchester United's midfield, and we were saying Casemiro needs a partner. Now it's Mainoo who needs a partner, and it looks like they might be looking for one in the transfer window. I've got to say, I completely agree with what Carragher's saying there. And for me, I hope Casemiro has a good game, but I was saying we should have moved him on in the summer. Like, Mainoo is one of your best players in the team, and he's such an important player for United. We should be looking at how to get the best out of him. How do you get the best out of him? You need to put a solid player next to him to complement him in the midfield. I honestly thought him and Amrabat did really well together when they played in midfield. Superb. I think Amrabat's unlucky not to have been signed permanently, to be honest with you.
But we need to be going and looking for that permanent partner that's going to take us into the future next to Mainoo. And I don't think Amrabat would be a starter if he came in, by the way, but I would have liked to sign him as a squad player. But we need to go and find that starter to play next to Mainoo. Do you agree with me, Ricky?
Yeah, I mean, Casemiro has looked a little bit better, and it's only 12 months ago that everyone was telling me he's the best CDM in the world. You know what I mean, how far off a cliff can you fall? So
He did fall very far.
So I was disagreeing with him at the time, by the way, but that's another story. Yeah, if look, Casemiro has looked a bit sharper. Hopefully, he can keep doing that, keep improving, keep getting fitter. That's the main thing, and we might be all right with Casemiro there. At the same time, I like Ugarte. If Ugarte comes in, I said to you yesterday, I won't be against us playing two. When we're playing with four, when we're playing with two false, I mean, what I was about to say was if we're playing with two false nines and two wingers, I wouldn't mind two more defensive players playing. But of course, that means there's no. If you went with Casemiro and Ugarte, what do you do with Mainoo? So that can't happen. But it's all very interesting stuff, you know what I mean? Yeah,
it is interesting, and it'll be interesting to see how Ten Hag sort of balances that out throughout the season. But I do think we have to sign Ugarte or a midfield player of that ilk to go and play next to Mainoo. I think that is something that we are missing. Are you disappointed we didn't sign Amrabat, Ricky? Or do you think it's the right decision?
I was disappointed we didn't sign him, but if we're going to go and sign somebody like Ugarte, then maybe not. But Amrabat did great for us for not just the cup final, for 3 or 4 games, and in the final league game of the season, that was Brighton away. He gave the ball away a bit unnecessarily 3 or 4 times, and a lot of people were saying he'll get dropped for the cup final, but he didn't get dropped for the cup final, and this is where I think the new hierarchy are involved. I think they're saying, no, that team shape is great. He's doing a job in front of the back four. Against Brighton, even though he gave the ball away 3 or 4 times, he still won important tackles, he still made important clearances, and he stayed in front of the back four. So it was the team shape that was all important. And if you've got a player who's in that position, at least if he's just in front of the back four, even if he gives the ball away, at least he's still in front of the back four. It's better than giving the ball away and being out of position.
I think he knows his role. And I think he's not a starter, but I think he was definitely someone to have, someone good to have in the ranks for a cheap price as well, that we know plays well with Mainoo, we know can step up in big games.
If he was still with us now, would you pick him ahead of Casemiro, or wouldn't you?
Based on how Casemiro played last season, yes. Based on how Casemiro played in the Community Shield, I thought he did well.
I thought he did well,
so
but he didn't do any better than Amrabat did in the cup final. Though.
That was a much more serious game against a stronger side. I'd actually probably start Amrabat, to be fair.
I probably would.
I hope Casemiro does well today, and I hope we see the old Casemiro. That's one thing I will say. I think if we had the money, we would sign Ugarte and Amrabat. I just don't think we have the money. So you've got to focus it on the player that's going to be the starter for you, and he's going to take us into the future, which probably is Ugarte. Keith Kelly says, can't wait to see Ligt and Zirkzee get a good 30 minutes. Hopefully both start against Brighton. Also time to move Sancho on at this stage. Will Ligt and Zirkzee get 30 minutes? I hope they do. I'd like to see him.
What's he called? Who just said that?
Keith Kelly.
Keith, by saying that you hope they get a start against Brighton, that's tantamount to saying that you hope it doesn't go well today. Because if it goes well today, I'd be very surprised if they start. And I'm desperate for it to go well today. Like I said to Maud before, not because I don't want other players to get a chance or come into the team. We just want to get a great start under our belt. And if we can manage to get a good solid win today, 2 or 3-0, I don't think you'll see Diallo or Zirkzee starting at Brighton.
SK says Iwobi and Adama are very quick. Worried about Maguire, to be honest, because he can't play too high. I like the 4-2-4 pressing structure. How will it do against a low block though? Shenanigan says Casemiro looks like he's lost 10 pounds over the summer. What I will say is when I was watching Casemiro in open training in America, he was shredded. So hopefully his fitness levels have gone up, and I think what's important as well, you not being left on your own in that midfield, having players around you. You can have the best centre defensive mid that's ever played the game, but if you leave him alone in a midfield against like 3 people coming at you, you're not going to be able to deal with it.
Where have you heard that before?
Yeah. Ricky.
Bang on, love.
Yeah,
Bang on.
Yeah, that's the thing. Obviously he needs to do better, but the team shape and the players around him need to support him as well. So Tang TV says that Beth says Casemiro is finished, but continues to rate and believe in Luke Shaw. I've said Luke Shaw's injury situation isn't acceptable anymore, and I'm frustrated with it. Still think he's a good player though. whereas Casemiro, when he's played for me, hasn't been good enough. But I hope he can start a clean slate this season and get back to how we saw him in his first season. That's what I would ideally like, because I want every Manchester United player playing well. Ten Hag, a quote coming out from him, he says, "Always you have to do better and do things better. We've improved, especially in the last few games," like you said, Ricky. "I'm happy with the process we're in now. We can't stand still. It depends on what happens in the market, but I'm happy with the squad and confident going into the season. Things have changed behind the scenes. We collaborate very good. The structure is good with a lot of communication. We're all on one page and on the board. We work together and that feels good. There is good spirit." One thing I was told by a journalist on the pre-season tour, I won't name it, but that when Ten Hag got his contract and spoke to Ineos, he said there needs to be much better communication. We need to all be on the same page. He went weeks without hearing from them where he didn't know if he had his job. He was like, we need to be in constant communication. And that's something that has happened. And apparently Dan Ashworth and Ten Hag are working together every day. They're very close. So that's good to see, because you want that camaraderie and everyone to be on the same page in the hierarchy in the team. And that filters down, that energy filters down as well. So that's exciting to see. And we hope we see it on the pitch as well. We hope we see it filter down. Don't we, Ricky?
Absolutely. It's something, it's exactly what I said half an hour ago. You know, I think that the hierarchy are having a lot to do with how we're playing. They're having a lot to do with the team shape, and it's a nice way. I think it's a nice way by him saying that we're collaborating. I think it's a nice way of him sort of saying, you know, they're helping me select the team or the tactics or both. You know what I mean?
Trey Warren says Martinez makes Casemiro so much better. Keith, interesting take. Keith Keeley, a member for 17 months, says, "I'm desperate for Ligt and Zirkzee to do well, Ricky. I'm also quietly confident in their success." Patience is a virtue, but I think everyone wants to see the new signings do well as well. Inga says, "What happens if Zirkzee comes on and scores the winner tonight and Garnacho also scores? How will Eric Ten Hag select the team next week against Brighton?" They'll probably end up getting into the team. It's
well, Garnacho scored on
chance.
Saturday. He's not got in the team today, has he?
Interesting point from Ricky, to be honest. Ricky, we've got 1 minute to go before Goldbridge comes in. Score prediction.
I'm going to go 3-0 United. I'm really, you know, I don't normally say things like that, but I'd absolutely love us to get off to a good start, and I'm going to go 3-0. I think I said 2-0 on the show.
Who's your goal scorers?
Well, it's difficult predicting.
I mean, obviously, it's just like...
I know it's a bit of fun. It's a bit of fun. I'll say Rashford. He's got to put the ball in the net at some stage, and I will say, I'll say one of the subs. I'll say Garnacho and Diallo.
Diallo, nice one. I'm going to go with 3-1 to United. I'm going to go with Bruno to get 2 and Garnacho to get 1. My FPL sorted. That's what I'm going with. I'm trying to manifest it. Hit a like on the video, everyone, as well. Mark will be live any second now. It has been countdown to kick-off, and I'm so excited to go and get my seat in Old Trafford. Are you, Ricky?
Yeah, can't wait.
I hope the
Absolutely
fans forum.
Can't wait.
I really hope the fans forum.
I hope it's a positive result.
One.
I hope it's a positive fans forum. It's going to be brilliant.
Yeah, it is going to be brilliant. Mark said he was going live, but I can't see him live yet. What's the hold up?
Come on, Mark, get your skates on. We've got a game to get to.
He says, can we get all the countdown stuff up? Right, okay. We've sorted it. Mark is live. Everyone tune into that. We'll be back after Goldbridge's final score with the fans forum. Me, Ricky, Usman and Maud will be here. Kevy's currently on holiday. Can't wait to have him back as well. But come on, United, and let's get the first...
Come on, United!
Yeah!